Hi, this is a demonstration video for the Electrical and Electronic Principles Assessment 2. This is your template, which you will download at some point for your Assessment 2 tasks 1 through 4. The front cover section is just exactly the same as your question paper. Scroll down and you see this is actually your answer booklet template, so this is where you actually will answer onto for the majority of your questions. In task 1, which is the one involving building the circuit and taking the readings, similar to what we've practiced before, you either use either section 1 or section 2. Section 1 should hopefully work for the majority of people, and it involves the built-in feature of Excel inside Word. So really all you need to do is double click on the box, which is shown in the text as well. So it says here, double click on the table below to open Excel within Word. So I've already double clicked, as you've maybe seen. And now see you've basically got this window inside of Word, which is effectively opening Excel, and you can actually see the banner turns green up the top to indicate that it is Excel. You go ahead and you take your readings. So for instance, I'm just going to type in a couple random values in reality. Okay, just pretend that is the values that I measure. You can still use all the same features. So you highlight your two columns and you can go to Insert, recommend the charts, and the one where you want to use is the scatter graph. It's the one that should be recommended first anyway under this type of setup. Press OK, and then you obviously need to add in your couple of features of your X and Y axis titles under here. So axis titles. Obviously edit those two, edit your title, and then your graph will obviously not look like this. This is just a random set of data to show you that it works. You can drag that off to the side. You can then do all your calculations in here. So that's going to be equals to your voltage supply. So you might want to put in V. If I put in my VS here, let's pretend it's 500 volts. So I go equals to that minus the one beside it, and I can drag that down. The first one, remember, I want to lock in, so F4 on that one, and you can drag down and all the features work as normal. And then obviously the current to calculate as well, you need to know the resistance, but again just use your Excel formulas as we've shown before. And again, you're going to want to create a graph. The two graphs you're actually asked to create is actually the VR against time. So it is this one with time as your x-axis, and then the second graph you're asked to calculate or create rather is your current against time. So the first one I created is only for demonstration purposes. You're not actually asked to create that on your assessment. But once you're finished with that, even if it's bigger than this particular window, just click off, it's perfectly fine, and it'll sort of crop it off. That's grand. When you submit this and obviously upload it to Canvas, all I do is I'll open up your document, I'll be able to reopen up this again, and I can move and see your graphs. They don't need to be displayed, perfectly within the window, okay? So don't be panicking over that. Task 1 is basically exactly the same as task 2. If this does not work for you, using the Excel feature, depends on your version of Microsoft Word. You might just want to use the table instead. So there is the table, similar to what's actually in your question paper. You just fill in your results here, you fill in and you fill in. Now you can use Excel or just paper-based calculation to calculate these two columns here. It's up to yourself, but this one must be measured and these two must be calculated. When you create your graphs, if you're creating them on Excel in a separate sort of window as such rather than built in, then you want to copy and paste your graph into this area here, either via screenshot, or if Excel permits you, you can drag and drop it into this area here. I've sort of left the gap for you, and there's your current against time graph to go in this area here. The exact same procedure happens in task 2, except we now call them section 3 and section 4. So again, for section 3, as long as this works for you, just double click on the area and it will load up. Takes a little second to load, as you can see, but there it is. you obviously do all your particular measurements and then calculate these two columns again, the previous one. Create your two graphs, VR against time and I against time. Just save them obviously in that area, and when you click off, everything's stored. And then you're on to section 4. Again, only use section 4 if section 3 does not work for you. Fill in your measured ones there, and then your two calculated ones go in those two columns. Your resistor voltage against time goes there, and then your current against time graph goes in here. Again, create them on Excel separately, only if section 3 does not work for you with the inbuilt version of Excel. And then task 3 and 4, we're basically just inserting a picture, and there'll be a separate video for that.